I hate Batman. No, I'm just kidding. What is, everyone? Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast You Didn't Need, But You Deserve, where all levels of nerd and criminal are welcome.
Wow.
Oh.
I'm so happy.
Thanks for including me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Today we cap off our Halloween season with crime.
Oh.
Crime that will take place every holiday until next Halloween. The comic that was loosely the inspiration for The Dark Knight. Today, we're talking about Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale's The Long Halloween.
Wait, are we going to go on a crime spree?
Yes.
Monthly?
Yeah.
No, holiday.
No, it's a
Holiday, not
holiday.
monthly,
Holiday.
but
Well, okay.
holiday crime.
Close
spree.
enough.
All right.
Holiday.
Yeah. But before we get into that, my name's Corey.
I'm Caitlin.
Ollie.
And I'm Tom.
And I'm Josh. And this episode is brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd On Nation that is powered by Patreon. The Nerd On Nation allows us to keep the lights on and bright and keep us growing, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And as a member of the Nerd On Nation, you do get fun rewards and perks and stuff like that, like bonus episodes and Discord server access and early access, all sorts of fun stuff.
Also, you help build us to our goals.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Oh,
The
where
Nerd
we
On
have
Nation is
dreams.
growing. But yeah, we also recently went through a revamp of our Patreon. But
Yes.
check that out. New tiers,
Keeping it high
new
and tight.
goals, all sorts of good stuff. And for as little as $1 to $5, all the way up to $8, you can support us, and we appreciate it.
A lot.
Hardcore.
Yeah,
like
but
a whole
yeah,
lot.
Yeah. So check that out, nerdon.io/Patreon. Now, also, this episode is about a comic book.
Yeah.
And so
Weird.
it is especially brought to you in part by our friends over at Comixology, the internet's #1 resource for comic books. Where's the
Tis,
triangle?
tis.
Ting.
Like some of these.
Um,
Just digital.
But yeah, check that out. It is nerdon.io/Comixology. And a little of every sale goes to us.
Yay.
That is the business. And now the business of the show.
Tom?
Well, does Ollie want to put his headphones on, or are we gonna?
Nah.
We don't have to.
I was like waiting. You know what I was waiting for? I noticed this about 60 seconds ago. But I was waiting for like something that would require your coverage so I could sneakily put it on. But now it's been put on full blast.
Yeah.
So everybody can watch me.
Now we're on the wide cam.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
I've got headphones
Oh,
on.
there it is.
Everyone at home listening in, you really should be
Zoom in
watching
on these
it.
headphones.
Yeah.
You really should be watching.
Check out the
it.
full episodes of the video version on YouTube.
Yeah.
Shut up, Caitlin. I'm doing the next segment.
Wow.
So this is
How rude.
one book, one giant fucking
Nice.
book.
Nice.
Mhm.
13 issues, but it is one full story. So
what does that mean, Tom?
means at the end of this episode, we're going to rate it. And that means right now is a perfect time for us to
Guess that grump.
Dun, dun,
Oh, no,
dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
No! Wrong, Ollie. Why'd you turn to Dragon Ball Z with that?
I don't know. I wanted to overpower everyone.
Jesus Christ.
He
So,
did.
I think so far that's my favorite use of that
That was
line.
pretty
in
good.
the
I was-
episode.
That's good.
I'm going to zoom in real hardcore.
Good.
Everyone at home, if this is the first time
Can
you're
you put,
watching,
like, lightning bolts around him?
okay.
Yes.
If everyone at home, first time you're watching, first time you're listening, Guess That Grump is a segment of our show at this point where we're going to go around and guess who's going to have the lowest number out of 1 out of 5, and 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. No matter how high, how low, you're the Grump of the Week. And since I always explain and never mess that up, I will say that Josh will be the Grump.
Mm.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Every time,
That's
if you say
Josh.
Josh is part of the Grump, he's going to say wow.
So that's one for Josh.
Caitlin is probably going to say it too. Because Caitlin.
Josh. Caitlin?
Caitlin.
Oh, okay. Caitlin's going to be the grump. Caitlin.
Ollie.
Ollie's going to be. So that's one for Josh, one for Caitlin, one for Ollie. Ollie.
Caitlin.
Caitlin.
Going twice. Sold.
Tom?
Are you voting
for that?
Oh, so it's me. I will say not Corey, not Tom. Let's even it out here with Josh. So 2 for Josh, 2 for Caitlin, 1 for Ollie.
None
Does
for
that sound-
Tom?
The Nerd On
And then
Nation.
the Nerd On Nation votes for Caitlin.
Yeah, they think it's me.
None for
Well,
Tom? What?
for Tom.
Why?
I don't know.
Really?
Tom, maybe it's the Batman shirt.
This guy likes Batman
I
too.
know, I was about to say,
He's not wearing the Batman
you
shirt.
did hear him say it was loosely based. The Dark Knight was loosely based on this, right?
Maybe.
Wow.
But
I still
also-
picked you though.
So there
maybe
we are.
Maybe it's that Ollie likes Batman. I am Batman.
Oh my god!
So,
All
I'm
right.
training to be Batman.
So there you have it. Those are our numbers. Everyone at home, please play along. Slip and slide in our DMs, especially slide.
Oh,
What?
God.
No.
And let us know what you thought of the book, but also what you thought of who would have been the grump, but also the numbers of what you thought of the book after you read it on Comixology, neuron.io/Comixology.
So now comes the spoiler section of Guess That Grump.
Or and for those across the pond, you might call it first impressions, and over here we call it initial reactions.
Yes.
So, Caitlin, go first.
Yeah.
Well, I love things like this that are like long trailing stories that have to do with like holidays, and you're like weaving in pre-existing characters into like this long overarching thing. So this was
Long
like
Halloween.
Yeah, something like that.
Like 500 Days of Summer.
I haven't seen that, and I don't know if I want to. I don't feel like it's sad. Anyway,
It's good.
but yeah, I really liked how I liked the criminals. Why did I say criminals? The villains that they chose for the the holidays.
The Rogues Gallery.
Yeah.
I was very invested in the story. The art was great, but really funny sometimes.
Do you like his like 12,000 teeth that Joker had?
The 12,000 teeth, and also one of the time where it's
Two-Face's curly face.
Falcone's face was just like a giant block with teeny lips and big eyes. It was great. I don't know why.
I don't remember that one, but I'm going to look it up.
Boy, I like took a picture of it to say.
Guys
No,
out there,
I'm saving it for myself.
Caitlin is
Oh.
single. If you have giant heads and tiny eyes, she likes
tiny
that.
mouths.
She
Hey.
likes that.
Oh, damn.
No, I thought it was great. They did a really good job, and I this was a whodunit, and by the end I was like, whodunit though.
A lot of
real.
people. A lot of people
have
done it. Apparently,
Three,
A
to
lot of
be
people-
exact. 3 exact people did
Yeah,
it.
three
peeps.
exact people. So it was great. I think it was a great story.
Okay,
Right.
cool. She doesn't like it. Go ahead, Josh.
I like the book. What?
I really, really loved
There it is.
Loved.
this book.
Yep, guess
Um,
wrong. So did I.
I will say right now that this is by far my favorite Batman comic book that I have
knew.
read.
I knew he was gonna like it.
Um,
I knew.
Back to front, it was one of those that, because when we were leading up to this, preparing for this episode, we had to kind of keep each other on track, because I think this is the longest
Holiday.
book
Comic
that we
book.
have.
Yeah,
This is the one-
350
Yeah.
pages.
Yeah.
This is the
and,
longest Halloween.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it to
No.
me. I just kept reading through it, and I was like, "Oh, it's done."
I feel like I
I'm
finished it
gonna read it
faster than
again.
Hush.
Yeah. So I really dug it. I don't know if I've mentioned it on this show, but Two-Face is my favorite villain.
You have.
And
That's a great book
I
for that.
really loved the story of there's a lot,
Mhm.
and we're gonna talk about it.
Ali?
I mean, absolute. This is my absolute Batman. If we're watching the video version, that's on the desk here, and I'm.
It's a thick ass.
I'm a huge Batman fan, and this isn't just absolute Batman because it's the big version. I think this is like the absolute Batman
Story.
comic as far as like if you want to get more into Batman, if you want to learn more about the Batman world and like what the really interesting, as far as I am considered, what I think are the most interesting stories in the Batman world are all in this book. And as far as like the character cameos, how Batman deals with like the different character, the Rogues Gallery, the different people of the world, Commissioner Gordon, the mob, all that stuff. And all of that is in here. This is a great step in, especially if you're a fan of the Nolan movies. This is very much in that tone. And I think people would really like it. I loved it. I bought this, I want to say like 5 to 7 years ago or whatever. And I bought it half price because it was a little scuffed up at Comic-Con.
I was gonna say,
Nice.
Yeah.
Kinda-
Yeah. This one,
Because of this
I'm
little
not-
thing like right here?
Yeah, like that thing. There's
That's
there's
enough.
some on the actual book too, which is unfortunate. But
Some battle
because
scars.
I'm not very good at collectibles. Shout out to Dennis. He'll be the first to tell you.
Oh
But
no.
this one
you
was
ruin them?
not me. Well, they just get scuffed and I
Clam
moved.
chowder.
I've
all
moved
over.
like every 15 months
Yeah.
of my
Ew.
life. So
Yeah.
it's like putting shit in boxes and it's never.
I understand.
Okay.
If you're a collector,
yeah.
moving a lot is not a good thing.
No.
No.
But I loved it. I mean, and I read it again to kind of refresh myself for this episode, and it's penultimate Batman. Like it's at its greatest.
I chose poorly.
Thom?
Actually, I hadn't read this book in terms of like where my comic books reading habits started. It was actually pretty recent I read this book. I think I read it mainly because it was one of those like top Batman books you should read.
Right.
And I read the digital first, and then I bought the trade. This is my trade on top. But yeah, I I liked it a lot, and mainly because I knew that this is what Christopher Nolan got inspired from or used loose adaptations from for Dark Knight, and you could definitely see it. And I think
I believe in Harvey Dent.
yeah, I believe in Gotham. I believe in Bruce being Batman. I think the great thing that the comic book achieves is it wrangles with like multifaceted uses of Batman, and I think I've said this kind of in my platform. I'll use it as a springboard. I always feel like there has never really been a good adaptation of Batman other than the animated series, because you have a character who is human, flesh and blood, but the pinnacle of human perfection. So he's like super smart, super strong. So he can fight with
Super rich.
yeah, and so he can't fight with like the super villains and like the super powered people. But also his stories are he's a detective, but also they're more about the soul of man and like the shadow of the darkness of the heart and all that stuff. But also the colorfulness of the villains that he has and the conflicts that he has to surmount are really more struggles of morality, not really like, oh, they kill everybody. It's like, yeah, no, people are gonna die, but it's more like we lost a good person. And like that person has now succumbed to the insanity or the chaos that is Gotham.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of faceted things about Batman that like just one man can live within multiple worlds within the DC landscape. And I think this comic book really teeters on like showing that Gotham is one also grounded with crime, but also can go to that fantasy level with the characters that they have, especially when you see like things that happen with Poison Ivy as well as Solomon Grundy. And I love the inclusion of all of them as if like you already know them, because I think that's the best way to learn about characters is that it's not someone
Kind of throw you in the deep end.
I think that's what I was gravitated towards most is I'm kind of tired out. I'm burnt out on the origin stories. Like I want like this is a great time period for his like Batman career. It's a great point in it. Because it's like you said, he's wise and he's his best version of his detective self is in this. But also right in the thick of his relationship with Selena Kyle, like before she knows, or Catwoman or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, also the thing about it's like they throw these characters at you, and like there's no like
explanation of these villains. There's no explanation of like what's a Solomon Grundy, what's a Calendar Man, what's a Calendar Man.
Right.
Like you get it in the frame, you get it with the dialogue. You don't have to. Long ago, there was
When
the
I
guy,
was a boy.
and there were these rings that were made. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Corey. I love you. That's my thing with you. Okay? Corey, your turn.
I hate Batman. No, I'm just kidding.
Just because of that, I feel scorned.
Changing my score.
Hell hath no fury as a Corey
No,
scorned.
Long Halloween is actually one that I've been meaning to read for quite some time. And I just kept getting these other trades either handed to me or borrowed or whatever it may be, or reading other ones for the
Shout out
show.
to Kyle Robinson.
So I'm really glad that we finally got around to this and to spend some time with it. I really loved it. I think this might be one of my favorite Batman designs
Yeah.
I've ever seen on the page.
Very
You like the long
broad
ears?
shoulders.
Yeah. I thought the story,
Blue and gray.
watching Gotham change from a city run by the mob to a city run by lunatics was fascinating to me, because I was telling Tom, this feels like the most Batman the Animated Series thing I've ever read. Like this could be a spiritual
Very
successor
noir.
or prequel to the animated series, because everything I felt, not necessarily that it's in the same line, but it's how I felt while reading this was the same way I felt when I was a kid watching Batman the Animated Series. I felt like you said they treated all the villains in a way that I mean, I know them, but I could comprehend, if this was my first time, I could comprehend how they belong in this universe and how they exist in this universe together. So that it just felt really good.
Yeah.
Every page, even when the bad stuff was happening, you were like, okay, I like this. Where's this? What's going to happen next? And the book asks you to be a detective with it, right? With Batman.
Good mysteries do.
Which is really cool. As opposed to just showing Batman being a detective. It's asking you to fill in the blanks that he hasn't filled in yet.
Yeah. And I love like the flashback moments where it's like painting the picture of if this person could be the one that did it.
And this is supposed to take place right after year one, which is another one of my favorite stories. And in preparation for this episode, I watched the animated version that we talked about a little earlier. And I feel like this does a really good job of showing Bruce / Batman as, how did you phrase it, Tom? Younger but more experienced Batman.
I said that.
Yeah, which I was complimenting that. I was like, I think that hits the nail on the head.
Yeah, those were words he said.
Because I'm so used to watching the Batman that's been doing it for a while and is ready to give up the mantle or is tired of doing the same old things. Like Killing Joke is one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. And in that, it has the scene with Batman and Joker where he's like, we can't do this forever. Something's going to happen. Which I love. I love that Batman, but it's nice to see one who's still finding his footing in a sense, if that makes sense.
My dream Batman to see would be a young Tim Drake, an adolescent Jason Todd, and then an adult Nightwing.
Yeah.
So you get like the stages of parenthood.
Yeah.
But with
I
Robins.
dig that.
Because it's like, it's within, like, he's still young because he's not like married up with Selena Kyle and shit like that. He's not leading Justice League, but he's at the point where like he's had proteges. And he knows, like, he's learning with each one. And it's like with kids, too. It's like, oh, the youngest one's going to be treated the best because we fucked with the first two.
Yeah. And it was, it was also fun seeing the nods to Dark Knight in here. Or not nods to Dark Knight, what Dark Knight.
What pulled from it.
So, like, the little things like I Believe in Harvey Dent or the battle for Gotham Soul and stuff like that.
Well,
like,
just like Harvey's descent. Like,
Yeah.
I
Also
feel like it's pretty well captured. Very
rooftop.
similar.
And this is,
rooftop
to be
meeting.
honest,
Rooftop
I
meeting.
would have... and this isn't my qualm, but my qualm with Dark Knight is I wanted more Two-Face.
Yeah.
And like that's it. I mean that in the best way. Like I was fascinated with.
And you could argue, like, if you look at this as a run, 13 episode, if you look at it as one piece, there's also very little Two-Face in it as well.
Yeah.
It's sort of funny enough. I think it's
but there's
around
more
the same-
Harvey.
There's more, a lot more Harvey.
So the payoff
Tons
is bigger.
more.
The payoff is more impactful.
Which I think, I mean, neither here nor there. Dark Knight could have or could not have benefited from that. But this is what I wanted.
Right.
Is what I'm trying to say. This is exactly what I would have wanted from Dark Knight.
I would definitely fathom and pay good money to see Bruce Timm do an animated version, his style of this.
God, yes.
Just as like a one-off
yeah.
movie. They'd be pretty dope.
Yeah,
That would be
but don't
pretty
do
awesome.
to it what you did to Hush. Thank you.
That wasn't him. That wasn't him.
I know.
What?
I know. I'm just saying, Warner Brothers, DC, believe in your stories.
That's that own animated universe.
Yeah.
And they're adapting it to the New 52 in a weird way.
yeah.
Yeah,
But anyway,
yeah.
that's neither here nor there. I liked it.
Cool.
Great.
So that brings us to our meat and potatoes. So we're going to do a little brief synopsis as well as the production of the thing.
Who's doing the brief? Are you, me, you?
You opened it, so I can...
Yeah, go ahead then.
Actually,
I'll jump in with you.
Yeah, jump in with me because I don't think I have a good grasp on it sometimes. So, I mean, we start out with Bruce Wayne at a Falcone birthday or wedding, a family event. Very much think Godfather. This is a perfect story of the Godfather noir as well as Heat.
Yeah.
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 It borrows heavily from Godfather in
that's
the best way.
Chris Nolan's Heat is all about Heat. So we have Bruce Wayne who's meeting with Falcone, and we kind of see that there's tension between Bruce Wayne wanting to include the Falcone family into Bruce Wayne dealings. And this will be a theme throughout the rest of the book, for the 13 issues, is how does billionaire Bruce Wayne, who is in charge of one of the wealthiest and biggest companies of Gotham as well as the world, balance being Bruce Wayne, having pressures from the police force to stop crime, be Batman, as well as the impending corruption that is the city of Gotham with their organized crime. From there, we get a murder. The murder of Falcone's brother.
VD.
Brother.
No, not his brother, his nephew.
His nephew.
His
Who's,
sister's son.
yes. There's a lot of family members in here. And there's a lot of Falcone family members that get shot up or come back from jail or anything like that. But yeah, a murder happens. And we start out with a little bit of a cat chase first with Selena Kyle as well as Bruce Wayne
And when does the first murder happen?
on Valentine's Day.
No.
On
Halloween.
On Halloween.
The
Long
long
Halloween.
Halloween. You got
Starts
it.
on
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I mean, did you just mention my life? Anyways.
Yo, if there was a Harley Quinn book
Ah.
called Long Valentine's Day, and it was about. Anyway, go ahead.
Very cool. So we have this cat and mouse game, cat and bat game with Bruce Wayne, being more entangled into the whip that is Catwoman and falling more in love, but also
Working with Harvey Dent and Gordon to try to figure out.
the murder first.
Right.
So they have a rooftop meeting where they kind of discuss that they are all willing to do whatever and whenever it needs to save Gotham and to bring justice to these people. And all that they know is that whoever murdered this brother used a gun that had their serial number filed off, a bottle nipple on it so that it would silencer, and they would leave some kind of
Memorabilia
memorabilia
from the holiday.
like a submarine.
Mr. Wayne, submarine. I was gonna say bats, Lucius. I know.
So like on Halloween,
Goddamn
they would
it,
leave like a
Bruce.
pumpkin, or they would leave like a witch hat or something like that. And so
For
all,
Valentine's chocolates or
Yes.
whatever it may be.
so this will happen throughout the entire thing, but throughout all this is happening, Falcone, who actually plays a pretty prominent role, is getting pressure from Salvatore Maroni,
Yeah.
another
His rival.
another crime lord, another family member, as Godfather would have it.
Maroni's number 2.
Yes,
In the
and
city.
they are trying to figure out who's the killer. Now the news and the rest of the city have now dubbed this killer the Holiday Killer, and they're killing people left and right all throughout the Falcone family. And we don't know if it's Maroni's men, and then at a certain point that Harvey Dent starts thinking that Bruce Wayne might get involved with it, because we start finding out that Thomas Wayne was in business with Falcone at a certain point.
Not so much in business, but he did save
Save
Falcone's
his
life.
because he got attacked because his father Thomas Wayne was a doctor.
Yeah.
Capeless crusading ensues.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Caped crusading. Capeless is our other podcast.
Well, at one
show.
point it is capeless crusading.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right, with the plane.
Yeah.
Gets
With
eaten.
Joker. Yeah.
A lot of the rogues gallery gets invoked, so we start
Yes.
seeing people like Scarecrow,
Poison Ivy.
Solomon Grundy. Poison Ivy takes control of Bruce Wayne, and he actually follows through with some of the deals that Falcone wanted, because
Yep.
Falcone hired her, and then the sister was not approving of that. We see Calendar Man.
Yeah.
The Riddler.
We got
Who-
Riddler.
Is jealous.
Yes.
He's
Because
jealous.
people are forgetting about Calendar Man for
Yeah.
Holiday.
And there's this kind of same impending doom feel like we got with Dark Knight, that the police force as well as Batman are not up to snuff to catch this holiday
Yeah.
killer.
So someone tried to blow up Harvey Dent's house, or
Mhm.
someone did blow up
Does,
Harvey Dent's
yeah.
house, and he dies, quote unquote. And then you find out he didn't die, and
Him-
he's doing an undercover sting with Batman and Gordon to try to figure out who it was, trying to infiltrate the family, all that kind of stuff.
His lovely wife
His wife
Gilda
gets
is
hurt.
trying to
Have a
keep,
babe.
keep the marriage together,
Mhm.
and they have good heart to heart with Barbara Gordon,
Yeah.
Jim Gordon's wife.
Felt so bad for her.
One thing leads to another, and Harvey Dent convinces Maroni to go on trial and testify. Right before he goes into the court, Harvey Dent's assistant, who we see meets with Maroni, I believe it is,
Mhm.
in the bar a few times, like kind of working with him, hands him a quote unquote antacid to drink for his ulcer. Turns out to be just acid.
Yep.
Actually, pro
Oops.
acid, not
The opposite.
antacid. Just regular acid. And he throws it on Harvey Dent, and
On
Harvey
his
Dent
face.
disappears.
Mhm.
No one knows where he
For
went.
months.
And then one night on Halloween, I believe it is.
The next Halloween.
Yeah, the next year, the next Halloween, after all these people have been killed, Falcone, his house is invaded by Batman's rogues gallery, led by Two-Face. And
Batman swings in.
Batman swings in to stop him.
But you can't really stop him.
Yeah.
It all turns into black and white because there's a little smoke grenade.
Pretty dope.
And then you just see the 2 gunshots fired, and you see Two-Face over the dead body of Carmine Falcone.
Yep.
And at the very end, not the very end, the endish, we get to the rooftop again a year later, from where we see Two-Face, Harvey Dent, Jim Gordon, and Batman. And Batman, who thought it was Holiday, and we ended up finding out that it was actually Alberto.
You mean thought it was?
What was
Harvey.
the Holiday Killer?
Yeah.
And then we find out it was actually Alberto Falcone, the son of Carmine Falcone, because he was always pissed that Carmine Falcone never really gave a shit about him and even forgot what his birthday was, which is Valentine's Day. That's what I remembered. And
Oh, that's sweet. You remembered his birthday.
yeah, I did, because I'm a
Aw.
good father. Piece of shit. Anyway, but he's the one that was killing all these people. But we end up finding out that later on he stopped, and then Two-Face became the Holiday Killer. And then he said there were 2 killers that night. And then we get Two-Face. He said, like, hey, I was willing to do whatever it took to take him down. And this is what happened.
And he turns himself in.
He turns himself in. He gets it booked. And then one of his last frames, he says, Gilda, his wife. And then we go to Gilda's house, and we see her destroying all the evidence that points that they were actually working together. Because
They weren't working together. They were working separately
Yeah,
together
separately together.
for the
And
same
so
cause.
There were actually 3 holiday killers.
Ooh.
And at the very end, we see Alberto as well as Calendar Man, 2 cells
Right,
across from each other.
across from each
Technically,
other.
that's only in the extended version. It's cut from the real version, which is what I had. And I had to
Oh,
look
weird.
that up.
Okay.
Wow.
So in the extended version, like Lord of the Rings, the real version,
You get Alberto, who is the holiday killer, and Calendar Man, the Calendar Man. They're talking about
Glass
different
cells, yeah.
talking about holidays and which
Groundhog's Day.
yeah. Well, they're talking about different holidays and which one they would rather do crimes on, and that's how that ends. So it's kind of a fun, neurotic
Button.
Tim Burton thing.
Little
But then
button.
also really ends with Batman on a rooftop
Brooding.
well, it's kind of like renewing his vows to save Gotham and saying, I must always continually to believe in Gotham.
I believe in Batman.
Did yours end with "I believe in Batman"?
Yes.
No.
For,
I can tell you what mine ended with. I have it pulled up here as we were going through the
That was such a good closing point.
brief synopsis.
And then it continues.
Yeah, so Batman's on the roof, and then it's Gilda, and then it's Gilda's whole thing, and that's where it ends, where she says, "I believe in Harvey Dent," and that's where it ends. And then you have this whole breakdown of the Roman Empire.
Oh,
Right.
Oh yeah.
fun.
But the thing with Calendar Man was cut. Did you guys also have the scene where Falcone finds Alberto's body in the river?
Yes.
And he
That's
cries.
also cut.
oh.
That's also
What?
just check it out. This is a sketch. It tells you about the things that they cut out of the book.
Oh.
And here's here's him crying in
Yeah,
the field.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
cut. And then here's the Calendar Man with Alberto.
Oh, wow.
It's all
Interesting.
been cut.
Your absolute version has everything, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Does yours? So mine that we have on top here actually has a little excerpt from the beginning with Christopher Nolan and David S. Goyer.
I have that.
Oh, really?
Talking
Mine. I don't know.
Depends
I
when you
can't
got
remember
it.
when mine was published.
So
Mine
mine
had
has an
all that
interview,
stuff.
But anyway, that was good. That was like 10 seconds.
yeah, I know. Thank you.
Yeah. Good
Uh,
synopsis.
now go to the production, Mr. Ollie.
DC Comics
Is the publisher?
That's it.
is the publisher. Jeff Loeb, who does Batman: Dark Victory, Superman for All Seasons, Hush, which we've done. Look up that episode, definitely. Writers for Daredevil.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Continue.
Yeah, just the formatting's weird. He's also done Daredevil Yellow, Spider-Man Blue, and Hulk Gray. The lettering is done by Comic Craft, who have done The Killing Joke, Marvel Comics, Batman Hush, and then Richard Stockings, who's done Spider-Man, Transformers, who's also the founder of Comic Craft. Artist is Tim Sale, who has done Year One, Captain America White, Superman Confidential. The colorists are Gregory Wright, Spider-Man, who's done Spider-Man, Deathlock, and Silver Sable. The publication date was December 96 through December 97, 13 issues, limited series. And that is that. It is now available in trade format.
Yum.
And also on Comixology.
And on
There you go.
Comixology.
The one on Comixology
Use
is
our
the one I have,
code.
which doesn't have some of the
Oh,
scenes
that's
in it.
interesting because I had
Oh.
maybe I got a different version or something like
I think
that.
there's an ultimate one.
Oh yeah.
You can get it at
But I didn't buy that.
nerdon.io /
Backslash
Comixology.
I'm broke.
Ding.
Wow. I am gonna get a
Ding.
triangle.
All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into the actual fun of the
do
show.
it,
Let's
man.
favorite parts.
Oh man, Batman's cape. First of all, this is one of my favorite designs. It has like a mind of its own, which is beautiful. And Catwoman's suit. I want to see an
Catwoman
animated.
suit.
I want to see an animated Long Halloween with that Catwoman suit in it. 'Cause I
love
thought it
the
was
tail.
the coolest thing.
Catwoman.
Tail and the ears.
Yeah, and
she
every
was
scene,
ripped.
every
Oh, and she
scene
was
that
I want to be
jacked.
that ripped.
when you
I
just
know.
Yeah,
and
that
I
was
was like,
funny.
love it.
But I love that she was ripped. She had
She-
abs
She
for
was
days.
not like,
and
some fluffy, curvy
Right.
woman. She was like, I am ripped.
Like, I
Show the folks at
believed her
home.
acrobatics.
just try me.
I believe in acrobatics.
I believe in Selena Kyle's acrobatics.
Like, look at that.
Everything was so extra.
Look.
So good.
Everything like
but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
pecs
matter.
for days,
Yeah.
muscle crevices for days, just
but it's like,
Everybody
his
is peak.
ears for days, cape for days,
but it's done like in
teeth
a
for days.
respectful way. Like I'd say it's done fairly respectfully.
No, I
That's the
Oh, yeah,
that's
no.
the Tim Sale way.
I also think this is the shortest penguin we've ever gotten.
Was he like just shoe high?
Yeah, he's literally standing on the desk in that scene.
Oh, is he?
And he's like-
that part.
He's like this tall.
Nice.
Oh, my God.
So about 2
Interesting.
feet tall.
Here, I'll show you on here.
One of my favorite parts was at the beginning of the when Selena Kyle walks in and Batman is just about to leave, and he says, "Suddenly leaving lost its urgency." And I was like, "Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
Just watching kind of the cat and bat chase that was going with them. The whole thing was a lot of fun.
It's one of my favorite it's one of my favorite like side stories is the relationship between Batman and Catwoman.
And Selena Kyle and
Paralleled.
Bruce.
Yeah, paralleled with that. Like whenever you use that, I'm in.
Have you seen the Bruce Timm animated The Chase?
No.
It's a musical number. All it is music, and it's just them chasing each other through the night. And at the
Sounds
very
fun.
end, he like handcuffs her to a gate because he has to.
Don't spoil it.
Wow.
You would have watched it by now.
So
No, I didn't know it existed.
but and my favorite part, I think, it actually probably have to be the growing rage of Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I liked where it was going because I mean, like you go into this like he's Harvey Dent, not for long.
Anytime he's a walking spoiler alert. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
next
he
Harvey
is.
Dent should be
He's
Sean
the
Bean.
Sean Bean of
I was gonna say
Batman
next, what you
movies.
need to do is
Sean
just
Bean.
Sean Bean and Matt Reeves Batman. All right,
Yep.
that's what it is.
But like it's like I don't know what's gonna happen to him.
A Sean Bean Two-Face, I would actually be totally.
That'd
That would be
fire.
great.
You mean what happened to him in fucking Goldeneye?
yeah.
He almost died and come back. But yeah, so like
Was
it's kind of like
he didn't have a scarred face or something too?
something like that. But yeah, so it's like seeing that and it's like cool. And then you get to be with him and see like how he's trying to hold it together. He can't be Batman, but you see like the mania kind of happening. But it's kind of funny
See his
because
frustrations.
I remember reading it and I was just like, oh, he's a killer. Because like you see him working on the workbench and I'm like, oh, he's a killer.
yeah.
It's
right there.
It's like you're not gonna fool me with something like later
Yeah.
on. You're not gonna hand wave this to me. I'm like, no, he's a killer. Well, if he's not the killer, I know he's a killer.
Yeah.
I liked how you see him there, but also like you seeing him like with Gilda as well as like seeing him meet the rest of the rogues gallery and like how he becomes the ringleader. It's like
Yeah.
whoa.
One specific aspect of like the way that they represented Harvey, and I think I sent you a screen grab, but it's the way that they obscure or split his face even before he's Two-Face.
Yeah.
There's sometimes that there's a frame where only half of his face is in the frame,
Yeah.
or the shadows would be blocking off part of his face. I just always thought it. And what's interesting, what I think is fun, is that the part that they always shadow is the part that's going to
become
become the Two-Face part. Like it's his looking. So
His
it's
left.
his right side is the okay face. So they always block off
His left.
his left. So it's always really neat to see his left.
His left.
Also,
So-
His
I
left.
just watched that
On
episode.
your left.
They did the same thing. They do the same thing in Gotham, the show.
Oh yeah.
And it's not the same.
Oh yeah.
It's the wrong side.
Oh,
Oh.
whoops.
Ippy.
just like Spider-Man Far From Home. It's the wrong patch.
With Nick Fury.
Okay.
I also really like the camaraderie a little bit you see with Jim Gordon and Harvey Dent.
Captain Gordon.
Whatever the fuck. I said Jim.
I know. I'm just saying in this one he's.
Yeah.
I wasn't arguing you. I was adding to it.
No,
It's
I said
Captain.
we watched
Everything's-
Hatefully together, okay?
That's what I said.
But no, I liked that, but also I liked that Barbara and Gilda like had a thing and they were
Mhm.
connected.
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh,
I-
and
'cause-
Barbara, like how she handled everything was great. I
Well-
was just like, you're the best.
Yeah, I really liked how like again this kind of holds that drama of like these at the end of the day these are just people.
Yeah.
And there are all these like
Yeah.
fantastic crimes going on, but the main crime that's happening is just organized murder. Or it's just a serial killer and it's organized crime. So it's a murder, killing people and organized crime. And then the fantastic stuff doesn't even happen until later on. Like that one big splash with fucking Scarecrow, which is kind of fucking dope. But that doesn't happen until later on in the end. But it's like if you see that in a film, it's like you wouldn't be able
Well,
to get
funny
that.
enough, there's also like splash pages of just like Harvey like yelling at his wife.
Mhm.
It's like, so that's what I appreciated. Like I appreciated that it was like the normal day-to-day stuff that was also like just as important.
Mhm.
I loved the 2-page spread of all the villains
Mm.
sitting in the dark.
Oh, in the desk.
Yeah,
I
I was like, and what's interesting is like I haven't read a lot of Batman comic books, so there are some villains that I haven't been introduced to only in like Batman animated or
okay.
other things. Like even having the Scarecrow represented on the page was fun to see. Like I hadn't seen that sans an animated show of some sort.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Oh, in the Arkham games, he's great.
Yeah.
I think that's a really
yeah,
good
Arkham, he's a huge part.
depiction of it.
That 2-page spread for me.
Yeah.
Which one?
The 2-page spread when they're all like on the desk
Oh,
and
all
stuff,
of them.
being like,
Yeah.
hi
I wasn't
there.
sure if you're talking about Scarecrow or
No.
or
The with
Rogues
all the
Gallery.
villains. Yeah. Villains.
all the villains.
That was totally like the portals, Avengers like portals coming through. I was like, oh fuck. Yes, they're all here.
My
Yeah.
favorite part of this whole book actually follows that page,
Oh yeah.
and it's when Batman's taking them down,
When he's-
reciting
that's
what his
one of the
dad
parts that I was gonna say. Yeah,
his dad used to say. He's like, of course he's talking about surgery, but same thing.
just the precision and the
Yeah.
accuracy.
It was like make a
Magic.
decision, and if you make a mistake, you live with that or whatever it was. It was. I just thought that was really. I had never seen him rely on something his dad said in that sense beyond why do we fall. But you know what I mean? Like it was such a specific part of his dad that he not even just like the memory of my dad. It was like this is something he used to tell me, and I apply it to what I do out here in Gotham nightly.
Do you remember the trailer for Arkham Knight?
No, I don't.
It
remember the
opens up with the
trailer.
Batcave, and you hear the words of Thomas Wayne. He says, "You're gonna grow up. You're gonna have a crazy life. You're gonna go out partying. You're gonna have all the like fun stuff. You're gonna wear fancy clothes and do all this stuff." And it's
Wow.
all about him being Batman. Though. So you have a crazy night. He's like fighting villains. Like you're gonna have crazy clothes, and then he's like
That's
his new armor.
And so it's that kind of thing where it's like that. I think is definitely taken from this because The Long Halloween is definitely the quintessential book to take from, especially since it's also a sequel to
Year one.
Year One, which I think. That's a good comic book for anyone at home that you could check out on Comixology.
It's really good.
Ding.
And I would also say after you read Year One, go watch it's one of my favorite animated versions of Batman as well.
And what that story is, it chronicles when Bruce Wayne comes back from his training, and he's trying to build the persona of the Bat, as well as Jim Gordon getting transferred from wherever police station he is to Gotham, and these two young men who want to change Gotham for the better, how they grow up or how they become partners.
Who they are.
And like there's a really good part where like Gordon has to save his kid,
Ooh.
like because his kid gets kidnapped and
Yeah.
thrown off a bridge. It's a baby, and it's like
It's
really good. And so this
well
story
done.
takes over where it's like the trust between everyone's there.
Yeah.
Like you have that trio, so it's like, yeah, they're oh no, they're gonna fall apart and not trust each other.
Yeah.
Fellowship.
Yeah, because I mean, there's also that really great scene where they're all in Jim Gordon's like
Office.
and they're all just trying to figure out what to do next.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because it's like it's a take on the cop drama. It's a take on like,
Yeah.
you know, rolling up the sleeves, having the coffee late at night, and it's like, all right, how are we gonna get him? And I think it's that, but also just like wrapping it up with like how Selena like ends up saving Batman too, Bruce, without knowing that he's Batman. Like, because he's being mind controlled by Poison Ivy. I think that was great.
I liked the depiction
Yeah.
of her Ivy. The
Oh,
like
yeah.
taking him
Giant
over,
vine.
the
Oh.
green on his chest when she like
Yeah.
when Catwoman rips the shirt open and it's just like he's being taken over by vines. I thought that was an awesome
It's
depiction.
creepy.
Yeah.
Of
Terrifying.
Super creepy.
Absolutely terrifying.
how Ivy takes control. It's not just something in the blood or in the veins or something. It's like a physical representation of her strangling.
Well, like
this
the
guy.
cool thing I like about
Controlling
this is the time that you spend like with the story. It's like a year. It's a full year, and you get to see. It's like, whoa, he was taken over for a month. So like, was he not Batman for a month? Was he like? So like,
Probably, yeah.
the cool that's what I liked about it is that it gives you like these little, almost like little vignettes into like what Batman does and how he goes about his like the
This
Christmas
is how he
episode.
makes coffee. This
Yeah.
is how.
Like the
Coffee.
Christmas I think my favorite book is the Christmas one because Joker's one of my favorite villains and I loved the plane scene and like
The Grinch.
the fact that he was he was like there's only room for one homicidal maniac in the city and he's like
He was
it's
like,
gonna
I
be
don't like this holiday guy.
and he's like I gotta go kill a bunch of people just so I can be like the best maniac for the city.
Yeah,
or
and he was
whatever.
like, he could be there.
So I'm like,
You really think you're gonna kill Holiday? There's a good chance he's gonna be there at the tree
Yeah.
lighting. So like, yes.
Yeah. So that's what I really liked is I like that issue a lot.
I've also forgot. I love when Batman goes to find Riddler, and then Riddler says like, "What time is it when Batman finds your secret hideout? Time to get a new hideout."
Time to get into
Yeah.
that.
I was like, wow. And that's kind of the thing where
When
it's
does
like,
a serial killer not kill?
I don't know.
We'll see.
That was April
Yeah.
Fool's. Yeah, that's what he says when he's about to get shot, and then Holiday doesn't.
Oh, when he shoots all around him.
yeah,
And like I like that where it's kind of like you get to see the animatedness of these characters where like Joker's like, I gotta be the best killer. It's not even like it's a terrible thing, again, killing people, but it's like the Joker's like has that psychosis where he's like, I have to be the best. And Riddler is like a garbage comedian who just wants to be smart, but he's actually not.
Sorry, buddy.
So it's like it's fun. So I like that a lot.
I'm trying to find it here. There's this one moment with Alfred that really like stung.
So we'll wait. Josh, go ahead.
I have a
Yeah,
question.
I'll find it.
Because I knew I had seen Solomon Grundy.
Yeah.
Born
But-
on a Monday.
I've never
Experienced Solomon Grundy.
He was
I've
a-
only seen pictures.
He was a mobster
uh-huh.
That was murdered and then sent and then like they tried to hide the body and threw him into the swamp and then he got resurrected. And so he's this
Why?
giant muscle. He's built like the Hulk.
Yeah.
And he pretty much like kind of could rival him in strength.
Yeah.
But like he's closer tied to the mystical realm of DC.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just
I loved that scene when Two-Face, because
Sees
he's
him.
now Two-Face proper, meets Solomon Grundy and
Yeah.
finishes the rhyme or finishes the poem, and like
well, it's like two monsters meeting.
Yeah, it was just like, it was such a fun thing where it's like, it's almost like of Mice and Men,
Yeah.
where it's
And he
like,
finishes
George
the
and Lenny-
rhyme and
Yeah.
it calms him down
Yeah.
completely.
George and Lenny a little bit.
yeah,
And also when Batman brought him
Thanksgiving dinner.
dinner.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
So
Batman's
cute.
a fucking good guy.
He
Yeah.
hurt him, and then he was all sad, like walking away.
Batman
Solomon
didn't
Grundy,
like-
and then
Hurting him.
yeah,
He was like, my
Well,
fight's not with him.
Because Solomon, he was a muscle, right? He was
Yeah.
a muscly. He was like the guy, like he's the
He's a
bruiser.
brawler.
You bring him in, right? And then he got murdered. And depending where you read it, like it was terrible, or it was like double crossed, or like it just happened. But like he is like literally a gentle giant in that sense. Where like obviously like someone could keep him in, and he's like I haven't fed him in days, and then just throw him in, and he'll like kill you and eat you. He's
Yeah.
pretty much a zombie.
Yeah.
Right.
A
mean, he
very
looked
nice,
good.
happy zombie.
He always scared me.
But he's a great character, and again, like watching him, he has a great arc in Justice League Animated that Bruce Timm did. It's so
Solomon?
good. Solomon Grundy.
I don't
has a
remember it.
Great arc. He helps them out,
Oh,
and then
Don't say it.
yeah.
well, I'm saying it gets into Lovecraftian shit, and then he helps the heroes out. It's really fucking.
I found the one I was looking for. I'm a big fan, and Tom knows this, of any sort of like Batman, Alfred, father-son moment.
yeah, chill old white guy, right?
Right, chill old white guy. No, but I just there is that. I love when they acknowledge, the writers and the characters acknowledge that Alfred has been this like father to Bruce.
He is dad.
because
He is dad.
He is dad. And it's the scene
Oh,
where
I
Bruce
already
is
know.
wondering what would have happened if his father hadn't saved the Roman's life, Falcone's life. And Alfred's just kind of like, it is what it is. You know, it happened. It was your dad's way. He just wanted to help people. And then Bruce says, but I can't help but wonder what would have happened if. And he leaves the room. And Alfred by himself just says, it would be as fruitless as my wondering if I had been a different sort of father to you, how better your life might be. And then that's the end of that bit. And it just struck a chord with me. I
Dad
love
shit
that
gets
shit.
you.
yeah.
Like, yeah, it does.
That shit really gets you.
It does get me, man.
Me too.
And there's
Makes me
like, there's another one I was reading to Tom the other day. I forget what it's from, but in this one run, Batman had died or was gonna die, and he left Alfred this message, and it was just like, I had a great dad, and I've been lucky in life to have two great fathers. So as much as it pains me to say goodbye, I love you, Dad, to Alfred, and it's just like, this was that kind of
I
equivalent
can't.
to me in this, and so I had seen that before, and then reading this, having that moment was compounded.
yeah.
And I
I
was
mean,
like,
it crushed me in Rises. Like
Yeah.
when that happened.
failed you.
yeah.
Like no, like when they actually break up.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, like that
What
whole
if I
scene.
told you?
Yeah, like that.
So if I told you.
half his day.
It was, she wrote a
That
letter.
was-
That's exactly what he said.
size of attention.
I also loved the black and white murder scenes with
Oh, yeah.
just the hint
Yeah.
of color.
Yeah.
the red.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Because like everything's in color, and then suddenly when it's about to happen,
Yeah.
the world loses color,
Yeah,
and then it's just
whatever
either
thing
the
it's
blood
called,
and the
or
memorabilia.
the memory. Yeah,
Oh,
It-
I think
it-
that's such a good design. It hyper focuses you.
It hyperfocuses you, but also it became like a point of the book that you were looking forward to.
Yeah, you're like,
Like-
oh shit, here it
well, it
comes.
makes you realize that it's like this interesting. Like this isn't about all the action, even though there's plenty of action in there. Like it's more about the things that they choose to focus on is the character moments, is like the mystery, and that's what I really appreciated about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it kind of brings back again that noir feeling because it just makes you feel like you're watching a
Yes.
black and white film. It's like,
Right.
Boom. Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, we had to find out who killed this guy.
Yeah.
And then the mailman comes and it's like, oh, is the husband home? And I'm kidding, that's a porno. But moving on, favorite characters
Sure.
Yeah.
other than Batman?
Other than Batman,
Well, then I don't want to continue. No,
Okay,
just
well.
kidding.
The
Two-Face.
Halloween.
the Halloween.
Uh,
Can Two-Face be?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Harvey
a
Dent.
Harvey Dent / Two-Face thing.
Selena
Mhm.
Kyle for me.
Okay.
Specifically, Selena Kyle or Catwoman.
Both.
There you go.
That's a good answer.
Actually, the thing that I'm thinking about, because it made me think of that, Gilda is kind of a part of like the more so like a honorable mention. That's what I was trying to
Oh,
say. Like, it was her.
Honorable-
It was just the
honorable
watching
mention.
some of the scenes of her reacting to Harvey
Yeah.
Dent. it was, and then in the end, kind of the
It's kind of crazy.
like her how she was in it. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Are you just flipping pancakes? What are you doing?
No, I'm
Ollie?
just doing what Josh is doing. He's like swimming with his hands.
Oh.
So we're doing that too.
My favorite character is Catwoman.
I'm shocked.
Even if Batman Batman was allowed to be picked.
Oh.
Wow.
I think she did. This is one of my favorite versions of her.
This is why I'm wearing the Batman
This is
shirt.
why I like Catwoman, is because of her like kind of cheeky like playfulness, but she has her claws and like he can stop her, and her features are, I'm a straight man, so
Look at those shoulders. You
Oh,
thought
I
I
thought-
was zooming in
I
on
thought
her
you were zooming
boobs.
on boobs. And
Nope.
I was getting ready for
Her
that.
shoulders.
Because you did zoom in on her
I
boobs.
aimed wrong.
To be fair, you were just like,
I was just going
Look
with the narrative
at-
that I
Whoa.
thought you were painting. That's what I saw. But like now, there's a shot that's actually probably one of my favorite panels. It's like Batman over. It's a shot
Oh,
from the back.
Yeah, she's like in the foreground.
She's
He's
in the foreground.
background.
He's in the background. I'm sure it's out there. I want to find a statuette of that.
Oh, for sure.
oh, that would be cool.
That would be awesome.
But you want it in this style, right?
And
So-
yeah, this exact thing, just that exact frame, just give
Because I'm
me a
saying
statuette.
Alex Ross has a lot of those, and you can probably find them. But if you want,
Because I love the
Corey and
design of
Josh are both on the
Batman.
hunt.
I was trying to find it.
It's one of my favorite
one?
Batman designs and one of my
Oh.
favorite Catwoman design. So it's this frame. I want that. I wouldn't mind if she was a bit more like in a more playful like pose, but that's basically what I
That
would
suit
want.
is so cool. I'm sorry. That's just like, I love that.
Yeah.
Bat,
For the-
It's a
Catwoman
bodysuit.
suit. Both their suits.
Yeah, it's a bodysuit.
Well, I like the
So
gloves a
many.
lot. The long gloves and long boots are
Mm.
really cool.
yeah.
Tom?
For me, favorite character. Actually, it's Calendar Man.
Really?
I really liked him because he kind of threw a good wrench every once in a while. It's like you don't know if it's a he or she, and it's
He's
like
just
he would
fucking
He
with
say-
them.
Within the same sentence, he would be like, "Oh,
I
he's
loved-
going to do this," but
So she
she
can-
doesn't think
it's Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
And I really, really like those because it's like they have all the knowledge. The thing is, they're trapped in four walls and they're more free than they are.
I just
Right,
wrote a
but-
heart next to my honorable mention because it just says CM, but it's Calendar Man.
Calendar Man. Yeah.
I love that he
Yeah.
didn't break him out.
No,
Like,
yeah.
it was so sad.
But
So
he's
I'm
like, sorry, there's only
I'm
room
sorry.
for one.
and he's just like what? He's just like looking, like waiting,
just like,
hopefully.
Damn it.
But also, like, I love it where it's like, yeah, it's like you might want to check that date because I think something's gonna happen. It's like, and I liked how he kind of became this kind of an audience like laugh sign or an applause sign of kind of like telling them it's like, well, you're not gonna figure this out soon. Like you only have a few days left, and I don't think
Mhm.
you're gonna get close. And it's like, fuck, it's impending doom that he kind of just put on them. It's like,
Yep.
it's true because he knows how this person thinks.
Yeah.
And that's like, again, it's fucking Hannibal Lecter. I don't know how else to say it. It's like, it's so
No,
good.
That's a really great.
My favorite, though, is Catwoman.
So CW.
Three for
CW?
Cat.
Yeah, I'm CM. You're CW.
No, I mean, my honorable mention was Calendar Man. I loved his design. I loved any scene that he was in.
It's
I
really good.
was like super invested. But this iteration of Catwoman is possibly one of my favorites I've read.
She's just so
Yeah.
cool.
She's so
awesome.
cool. She give a fuck. Like,
she
not at
doesn't
all.
give
two fucks. She's just like,
And her
I'm just here.
claw nails.
Yeah.
a hint of
Are
a fuck.
like-
She doesn't
I'm
give.
just here to. However, I probably would have said Batman if I could have, just because, like I said at the beginning, this is my favorite version I've read.
That's a good point.
But that's my own baggage with it, where I'm just
Yeah.
like, I was blown away by this iteration.
I think
of
I've
Batman.
seen like it was kind of like a she's due by me. You know, like sometimes it's like people are overdue for an Oscar kind of thing.
Yeah, but this is also my favorite iteration of Catwoman. So like,
Yeah. But
There's
for me,
that
it's
too.
like there's so many good versions of Batman where I was like, this is a standout performance
That's
for
fair.
Catwoman.
That's fair.
So that's why I was like, I'll give you.
I think she was good in Hush.
She was good in
Yeah.
Hush.
But this is more of her.
This is more true to her
Because
nature.
at the end of, she doesn't really play at the end of Hush.
yeah.
right.
But
I liked her showing up and him being like, "What are you doing here?" And she's like,
Yeah.
I don't know."
if you like,
that's the part of her that I like.
I would say if you definitely like
Always
Catwoman,
there to seize an
And then she
opportunity.
tries to save the daughter.
I would say
She's a good person. I mean,
if you
she
like-
just likes to seize her opportunities.
What'd you have to say, Tom?
nothing doesn't matter.
If you like,
If you like,
If you like
coladas?
if you like Catwoman, actually, then you should definitely read some of the later Tom King stuff.
okay.
Yeah, Ollie.
Because it's about to finish, and she's pretty much saving the day.
Oh.
Dope.
All her.
The new
Is
one.
Tom King who
current
did the
run?
wedding?
Tom King he's done everything
Okay.
of Rebirth so far.
Oh.
All of
Um,
Batman 1 through 80.
Wow.
5.
I dig it.
Oh.
So he's kind of a big deal.
Lord.
He's,
Everyone got-
he's doing New Gods.
Everyone got their favorite characters in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where does
So,
that bring us?
Qualms.
Qualms.
Qualms. Go ahead,
Josh,
Josh.
start
I
us
will go
off.
first.
Not enough
Because it's very tiny. It was the only qualm that I had was that there was kind of a logic thing of the 3 killers. That was the only thing that I was like, but how would the logistics of who? I mean, they weren't working together.
Yeah.
But
What if 2 of them did Thanksgiving or whatever?
Yeah, it's like what are the logistics? Like there wasn't like a holiday meeting or anything like that.
They
It
had
was
a-
just
they
like
had a little-
it just worked out.
They had a little Discord server like we do.
Oh my god.
A little group chat.
Well, I know
and
why
text message.
Gilda and Harvey. I know how they worked because she picked up on what he was doing, and so
Mhm.
she stepped back. But for me, my qualm is pretty much the same. It doesn't have to do with the logic of it, but it has to do with the fact that having 3, I feel
Takes
like
away.
took away from the Gilda thing at the end.
Took away from the
Yeah.
gravitas
Yeah.
of the fact that there was one.
I put here, I said, diluted the reveal at the end. I think just Gilda and Harvey could have been stronger.
Yeah.
I didn't care about Alberto's
They didn't really do much with him
Yeah.
to begin with. For
whole
you to
thing.
really
And I get that
care.
he, you know,
You related
He's very
why, but
smited.
Yeah.
it doesn't compel you.
we didn't spend enough time with them
Him.
to understand that his dad was that way. So when the
Right.
reveal came to me, I was like, oh,
there wasn't much of a
Well,
impact.
It's actually pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty detective tropey of the
Yeah.
fact that like, oh, it's a family member for sure.
Yeah.
Versus like this is more like versus the tragic story that we got with Harvey versus the double twist of that also Gilda was involved.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like which one did you want to play more?
right. And from what maybe I read it wrong, Gilda was the first one because she wanted
To help.
to
Yeah.
have Harvey stay home.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Harvey
when
took
did
over from her.
Alberto pick it up and when did Harvey pick it up
I thought
was
it's
confusing to me.
started with Alberto.
Yeah.
I thought Alberto did the Valentine's Day because
This is his birthday.
He did Valentine's
his
Day, and then he
birthday.
did his own, right?
He
He's
did his
like,
own-
you could
Harvey,
survive
I thought Harvey
up
did
close.
because he was on the boat and that's why his hair was wet.
That's
Well,
right. You're right.
yeah, and that
You're
was
right.
So
New
like
Year's.
that doesn't make sense either because how do he fake his own? He didn't know he was going to get killed.
Well,
Right.
the only that's why Alberto kills the corner.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
I was so like, I thought it was Alberto from the get go because I'm like, oh, he's the scorned son. He's like mad, and then they showed me the body, so I was like, oh,
which
well.
they didn't show.
What
in
was
mine.
mangled?
Yeah, it was all like mangled, and he's like, oh, the seagulls have really, and I was like, oh, well, he's
Yeah.
done then.
And
Guess that's a
they
thing.
killed.
Interesting.
They killed apparently the only coroner in Gotham.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
why they took it out,
Yeah, because
so that it would make more sense.
it would make more sense.
Um,
and
Didn't
that,
think of that.
I would say like, yeah, I definitely think like when you break down the brass tacks of it, the blueprint or the skeleton of it, it kind of like makes no sense. But I think what Loeb was trying to tell with the story is the fact that like, the fact that there were 3 killers is worse than that there was just one person.
yeah.
Is that the fact that like the rest of Gotham is capable
It's
of
the
doing
whole
it.
city.
3 people
is
separately
still
had the
villains.
same idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, they all had it for different intentions too.
And I dig that, but I think the two could have been stronger saying the same thing that Gilda and Harvey were murderers.
Yeah.
Like the two people you would never expect. The nice married couple who want to
Yeah.
settle down, have kids.
Mhm.
They're the ones going around killing mobsters.
I think there's a subtle nuance in the fact that like one kills because he's mad at his dad. One kills because he thinks that's the right thing to do, and the other person kills because they want their husband
around.
Sure.
It's both. They're all different versions of it, and so I get with everyone the qualm is, and I agree with it. Where it's like, yeah, it doesn't fucking make sense.
Yeah.
But it's like when you kind of look at the I guess the moral of the story, it's like, fuck, Gotham is fucked.
Yeah.
Like people kill
Oh,
for the worst reasons.
I mean, here's the thing that drives the whole point home is yeah, the mobsters might be done, but now you've got people like
Who are wives?
Poison
Like
Ivy,
who are
Two-Face.
Joker, Two-Face,
Scarecrow.
You know what I mean? These are all the people like, and it kind of reflects that same thing of in Dark Knight where he was like, "Look, you let the clown loose. Like you're the
Mhm.
one who did this." And with hiring like Riddler and Poison Ivy and all that kind of stuff, they did the same thing. Is they've elevated them to this new level
Yeah.
where they weren't at before. So I really dug that whole thing of like, what was the cost? Yeah, we got rid of the mobsters, but now we've brought this new wave of like insane crime to our city that's beyond anything
That
mobsters could
some
do.
people just want to kill just to be the best killer.
Right.
Yeah.
So like what was the cost of that?
Escalation.
And I loved that because then that brings you to the Gotham that you're familiar with as far as like the animated series where all these insane criminals running around.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Any other qualms?
I actually got a little confused with Calendar Man and Holiday because I don't know why, but
Their connotations kind of the same.
yeah.
That's
so
Calendar Man's whole thing is he's like, I don't like this guy girl because everyone's forgetting that that's my thing.
Right. And I think I just kind of I'd never heard of Calendar Man before this,
Right.
so I had no
So
attachment.
that's your fault.
That's fine. But I'd never seen him before, so I didn't know that it was like a normal thing. So I was like, oh, they're showing this character because they're more involved in the story than I think they are, but no, they're not. Okay, they're just mad that there's someone like them
Just
that's
feeling
out
my
there.
shtick.
Yeah.
So I just had a little bit of disconnect because I had no familiarity with it. It was like, oh, you're showing
sure.
me this character because it's going to have a prominent role in the thing, and then it didn't, and I was like, oh.
Well, I think in that same sense, anyone else, if we just take the genre out of it, like if a detective was using, like if there's a serial killer
Mindhunter.
who kills people with like bleach and they go to a cell and it's like, this guy kills people with bleach, it's like, oh, is that the guy?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you brought it up. I mean, Hannibal Lecter is a really great example. I mean, except
yeah.
for Calendar Man doesn't become as big of a part of the plot as Hannibal Lecter does, but it is kind of like he's a
He's an informant, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just another
It's
lead.
like in Mindhunter when they go and talk to Ed Kemper
Mhm.
about these the killers. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, he just wants attention.
I think maybe I just wanted a little more.
Well, I think
he could have been
from-
more involved.
I
Like
think
him being more involved. In
there
the
could have been
story.
like one of those
Something.
mental dialogue boxes where Batman's like,
Yeah.
we got to go to somebody that
I will admit,
Yeah.
in Arkham Asylum, it's one of my favorite
Easter eggs? When you
is
go down?
you find Calendar Man's cell, and it's
Yeah.
just got
just all the pages.
Have
pages
you
of
done
calendars.
the Easter egg where you set your clock to the date?
No.
If you go, I think it's Easter or you go to on New Year's Eve. If you go to the Calendar Man, like you get an achievement.
Oh, looks like I have something to do tonight.
It's really dumb. And I was like, oh, just change the fucking time.
Manual
thing.
time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait till Easter.
Okay, good.
There you go.
Nice.
Earn it.
Any other qualms?
I guess if I had to come up with a qualm, it would be
You don't have to. You can just like it.
well, something that might affect the score is as much as I love this book, it does give a very high level, almost like it's a little almost too fast paced in the sense that it has to get through a whole year.
Breakneck speed.
It has to go like that fast, and you don't get to spend as much time with each like individual story.
It feels like a
or
time
facet.
lapse
Right. It feels like a time lapse, which is a pro
in some
in
senses.
some senses, but in this case, I think it dances that a little bit. And I would have loved to be able to spend more time with each like little bit, you know?
For the strengths and the weaknesses of
Right.
how fast it goes.
Yeah. So that's really the only thing that is of note.
Yeah, I would say in that sense, it's understandable why Christopher Nolan adapted the way he did because
Right.
doing this as a fucking movie is kind of impossible, I think. Like,
yeah, unless it's animated.
Yeah, or unless you're doing it like if it's Wolf of Wall Street where decades go by in like a montage.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But my actual qualm is actually the art style.
Really?
I was gonna say some of the
Yeah.
villains that I was gonna add
so
to the end.
The thing is I like is that like
Caitlin
this is
brought it
Tim
up.
Sale at his highest peak where he can kind of do as much as he wants and go as zany as possible, but also kind of creepy and dark and evil looking and demonic. But for me, like some of it's kind of like it's like ugh, I just kind of don't like the look of it. You know, like
I will be very bold and honest and say I don't like Two-Face's design.
Really?
I'll agree.
I mean, like and I
The
brought,
reveal, I was like, wow.
I brought
Okay.
it up where it's like Jim Lee, his style, like it's hard lines. It looks like anime, and I fucking love it.
Mhm.
Where this kind of looks closer to like Ed, Edd and Eddie, and it's not in a bad way, but it's more like the lines aren't super defined. You know, there's definitely great shapes and there's definitely
those
great
Riddler
flow.
Shots of the Riddler sometimes.
yeah,
like,
and I
he's,
mean-
like a little too curvy and weird.
It gets a little.
For me, it was Two-Face and Joker that
Ac-
really stood out.
Joker was a big one.
You know what it looks like? It actually looks sometimes like the demonic things you see in Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah.
And it's a little like
Oh,
too
wow.
much for me
Yeah.
sometimes.
Wow,
And like
okay.
it's not like I'm like, oh, I fucking hate it, but it's like, I could have done without it. I understand where it's
That's
coming
how
from.
I'm. It's not like it doesn't change the score for me.
Just to kind of add to it, I mean, the Joker didn't really bother me. It was her name Sophia Gigante?
Sophia. Yeah.
the sister.
It was
Sophia Falcone.
it was a stretch for me. Like it's like I understand I'm reading a comic book and we're living in a world that there's some strangeness that goes on. But it was just the design of her character was just so big. I understand that she's a big
Big.
person,
Oh yeah.
but it was like,
That's a thick ass girl.
well, there was
That's
some
a huge bit.
there were some Did you
Did you say steak?
Did you say steak? But there were just some frames that I was like, okay, that stretches my my imagination.
Also,
A
the one thing
little
I'll
far.
say is that I don't. It's not the It's not the best like Batman Batman in motion that I've seen. Like the motion sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, it's
hard to catch, and it can't. Sometimes like, it took me a while to like. Sometimes I would have to stare at a page and be like, okay, what's happening here? Because
Well,
like the motion wasn't sold.
I think I'm only
enough.
being so critical on the villain designs because of how good Batman
Everybody
and Catwoman
else.
look.
Yeah.
That's a good
Everybody else. Two people.
Yeah.
I would say
I didn't say everyone else.
Yeah, no,
You
I
said
did.
everyone
I'm
else.
the one who messed up.
I would say it's actually like to me how I see like Tim Burton Batman, where it's like it's wonderful in its realm that it lives in, and I think
Yeah.
that's a right of its own. But like for me, it's like I would prefer a different version. But
Of
like
the villains.
the entire how things look.
Oh, even Batman and Catwoman.
Yeah, I mean the thing is like there's some iconic stuff like framing that's not to me part of the art design. Like character design is another thing.
right.
And some of that stuff irritated me, but like the black and white sequences, like the giant panels, I think these are great scenes, but it's actually just like how they are designed.
The actually drawn.
The actual design of them, and
Thanks.
it's like I get it and I understand it, but I actually think this is a reason why I stayed away from this comic as long as I did.
Because you saw some.
Well, because I wasn't a big fan of Year One. I wasn't a big fan of this. I wasn't a big fan of how any of those looked. Like I was given Hush first,
Right.
Yeah.
and then I was like,
That's
Oh.
tough.
this is fucking masterpiece, and that's how
Immaculate.
everything should be. And I didn't get out of my own goddamn way and be like, oh, that other people draw too.
Mhm.
And then I was like, oh, let me read this, and I was like, let me see it. And I was like, oh, what are they
other
trying to
people draw.
establish? Like seeing Grant Morrison's Superman versus seeing how Jim Lee does Superman. It's like two different things. Grant Morrison doesn't draw it, but it's like the stories that he writes. He like looks kind of dopey, but that's how he's kind of supposed to look. Like he's supposed to look like his old Golden Age look.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh, I get it. But it's like, doesn't mean I have to like it, but I understand where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So that's where that sense where it's like Long Halloween, it's so stylized. And I think it's like totally running in its lane. And I think it's a strength of it. But like for me, it's not.
Well, she like Catwoman has big ears. She has the tail.
Mhm.
You don't always get.
That's
So,
what I'm
yeah.
saying. It's weird because like for my experience, it's like those are some of my favorite character designs I've ever seen. But then,
Right.
you get to,
like your characters.
then you get to Joker.
Well, I mean, that's the
I
great
didn't
thing
like
about-
the teeth.
It's a great thing about comics. Is
I
like
actually
there's-
really
there's so
enjoyed
many
the
different
teeth.
Sure.
designs and approaches, and each of them work for their own stories, and that's the beauty of it.
So we get to some rating.
Rating.
Who
Yeah.
has the least?
So that
do.
would be Tom
Damn.
Mine is a 4 point.
and me. We both don't have. Go
Oh
ahead.
fuck. Oh, 4.7.
Oh,
Solid 4.7.
4.8.
Okay.
Mm.
So
Oh,
close.
Who
Again,
else-
my
who's
only
next?
change would be
Oh, I'm the last
my
one.
only change would be
What did you get? 1?
I don't know.
Mine's a 4.8.
that's okay. I wasn't
He wasn't talking.
He wasn't
talking
done.
at all.
Oh,
You
I
guys
thought
are
were
really great at that, by the way.
What were you saying?
I was saying the only reason it's not a 5 is because of the third killer. It just really
Oh, yeah,
that
so
took away
extra-
from
If there
the
was
layer.
2, you'd be fine?
I would because like
Oh.
the Gilda thing came in at the end and I went it was kind of already deflated for me and I
Mm.
think knowing myself I would have loved that twist if it was Harvey if I thought it was just Harvey and then he said there were 2 and then the Gilda thing came in
Mhm.
because I'd be like oh shit
I think
because we
it's-
never knew the only time that it's hinted that he was the killer like as soon as she said your hair's wet I was like oh he did it
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw the nipple. And I was like, yeah. He's
Yeah.
a kid. He's a killer.
so for me that twist would have hit home a little more but it was kind of like lobbed over the
It's like
plate
a three's a crowd.
at that point yeah
Wouldn't it be cool if we did this? Wow.
For me, it's
Wow.
the art.
Art- yeah.
Style.
Art style.
Art style
Wow.
does
So-
a lot for comic books.
Ollie
for me.
go ahead
Fair.
So yeah, now that is my turn.
Let's all act surprised.
Mine's a 4.8.
Wow.
So I was going to say, the art style, it really.
No, it's one of my favorite Batman books. Not my absolute favorite, but this is definitely up there. And of course, one of my favorite movie of all time is based on this thing. So
Well, we might get one
This
by the
thing-
time we record it. We might get another one that's closer based to it. That's the rumor. Is that Matt
Oh.
Reeves will be based
Oh.
off this?
Oh, interesting.
let's see it.
That'd be
I'm ready.
okay.
I'm ready.
Nice.
Well, if it's a
body's ready.
4.8, then I don't know how good a movie.
Just give me a
it's gonna be.
Selena Kyle right off the bat, and we're good to go.
But ripped.
So I am
Rachel
next.
Weisz.
yeah you would be
No.
next
I will give this a 4.8.
wow
Oh shit!
The 0.2 is only because
Oh shit! Sorry.
mine is it really is because of the 3 killer thing. I just there for me it was the logic of it that I couldn't I love the fact of Gilda being a part of it.
Hell yeah.
But it really
Fuck yeah,
was
brother.
just the weight. So now I've got to figure out like it was just a logic
Yeah.
gap for me but everything else I loved about it. It was just that story portion of it.
I almost fathom
The Alberto one.
I would like it that it was just Gilda. She was the killer the entire time, but Harvey just became crazy.
Well, the thing is about it, each one of them, I can go down their paths of,
Sure.
I understand why you did this.
But how they
It
all
was-
happened at the
is-
same fucking
That
time.
I was like, okay, that's a little like, this happened.
I just want to know if like Gilda was like about to kill somebody and sees like a box of chocolates on the ground with the filed.
And she's like,
This is like,
Oh, deflated.
God damn it! All right, going
Yeah,
back.
so it was just like was there like a wink? Like, how did that lie? Anyway,
what?
Kaylin? No. there's-
Kaylin.
I'm gonna grump.
Yeah.
4.7.
Oh shit!
Oh wait,
Oh.
I've had that in my head since the very beginning
Dual
of this episode.
grumps. So we are the holiday.
We are the holiday.
Just
See,
kidding. Mine's a 4.72. Ah, 3 killers.
Good job, Alberto. You're the one that doesn't matter.
Look at my arms. They're broken.
Throw your old member in the fire.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, just a couple of the logic app things. Like Calendar Man, for some reason, didn't do anything for me, and having 3 killers was also kind of weird. The art style was annoyed a little.
No, that's
but
my
not that-
qualm. You can't bring that up.
That's fine. I also
not
have
allowed.
it.
You
so,
can't agree with me.
No.
Yeah, just a couple of things
It's
that
unique to me.
they just kind of built up enough, but it's still really good. Like I really liked it. I liked how everything wove into each other and how they used all the villains and whatnot. So it's still really good.
Nice.
Well
One might
done.
say it's 4.7 good.
One might say it's
Wait.
might say it's 4.7 good.
Okay.
That's racist.
all right,
I
Governor.
know.
Don't do that again.
Sorry, everyone not in the UK.
Or in the
in
UK.
the UK.
That was Tim. That was fine.
I
That was a
feel
fine
complete.
impression.
I feel complete.
I feel complete. We did it. We did it.
Wow.
Batman.
I
That
loved
was,
it.
that was a long Halloween.
That was a long,
That was a fucking long.
The
long
longest Halloween.
Sometimes you just need one
Yeah.
bad Halloween.
the long defeat.
Oh,
Anyway, thank you.
That is introduced in Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
Just saying. Anyway.
Anyway.
What Batman comics have we done? This one,
Hush.
Hush.
That's it.
Was that
Hell
it?
yeah.
Just
We
kidding.
should do
that might have
Killing
been
Joke.
it. I feel like there was one more, but I guess
That's how we
not.
did.
Well, Flashpoint had Batman in
Didn't
it.
Killing Joke yet. Oh,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Flashpoint had Batman in it.
So that being said,
Had a Batman in it.
slip and slide into our DMs. Tell us what you thought of the long Halloween. Also, tell us, give us suggestions for comic books you would like us to cover. Because we've got that tasty comicsology that we want to dip into some more.
Sex criminals. That's a comic.
Yeah?
That's a fucking comic.
Fun. We do have some more comic books coming up in the future, spreading the love through all the different medias and genres and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Yeah, tell us who you thought was the grump, what your number was, all of that fun stuff.
Tell us if there's any other comics you'd like us to cover.
Yeah, like I said about a minute ago.
We're
What do you
looking
want
for
us
cool
to
stuff.
read? God. Tell us.
Just tell me.
What do you want? God damn it. What do you want?
And I'll read it.
What do you want?
But yeah.
To polish this knob real quick.
Just make sure it has
Oh my
Batman in
God.
it. That's
Okay,
all.
thank you so much for listening. I got to get out of this. Thank you so much for listening. If you are new to Nerd On, check us out, nerdon.tv. We have 4 different podcasts that we do. Good stuff. Share us with your friends, your family. Stop by, rate and review. But I need to get Tom to stop stroking his microphone. So
you know the drill.
As always,
Nerd on.
He's still
Stroke
stroking it.
on.
No.
Ending broadcast.